Welcome to the Weekly Late Show on BBNBC. I am, like always, your host, Birdie Betts. Different and equally nice news. I'm doing a giveaway of these two shirts. They both have this, like, Birdie Betts, Birdie on them, this, like, bird thing on them. Yeah, nonetheless, these two shirts, I'll be giving those away. What you have to do to enter is like, comment, and subscribe, and sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'll choose a winner. And just for the record, it's completely random. So all you have to do is comment, like, and subscribe, and you're automatically entered. And tonight, we'll be discussing some very important issues. Some about our current commander-in-chief, the Texas power meltdown, global warming, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Gorilla Glue, the Super Bowl, and LeBron James. And, don't forget, Meghan Markle interview with Oprah Winfrey. This is all things we're going to get to in tonight's, or today's, Weekly Late Show. Alright. Joe Biden has put one, if not the biggest inflation relief package of all time. This package will benefit many, including it'll be giving $1,400 to everyone that qualifies. Yes, $1,400 is going to solve every single person's COVID-19 problems. But, like, seriously, $1,400 isn't even that much. It's not that much money, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. The bombshell interview with Meghan Markle took place. Everyone is excited about it, talking about it, running around with their friends, and talking about the interview, like, gossiping about the royals. But the royals gossiping about other royals, which is very interesting, because we're humans gossiping about royals who are gossiping about other different royals who happen to be also royals, and some of them actually aren't really royals. Anyway, it's a complicated situation. Well, we knew racism existed, I think. You have to be insane not to realize that racism existed. But we didn't know that. But I was, anyway, unaware that it was happening at such a high level, right in the royals. The royal, the British monarchy, king, queen things. But, honestly, I didn't really care much for the interview, but one moment I did really like, and that was this one.
What?
Yes, I will be using that in many shows to come. For example, out of context, here's an example of how I use this clip. Republicans blamed AOC for the power crisis in Texas.
What?
Donald Trump incited a riot.
What?
Ted Cruz went on vacation while his town froze to death.
What?
Joe Biden's dog bit someone.
What?
Anyway, I'm excited for the memes. Alright, let's talk about Texas and how it's freezing cold there. Well, it was freezing cold. Now it's not as cold, but it was really, really cold. So let's start by talking about why Texas doesn't have power in the first place. So apparently there is some wind that was coming from the upper part of the earth, and that wind came down to Texas and made it cold there. And for some reason, Texas is dumb enough to have their own power grid, which means that if their power goes out, they can't get power from nearby states because they have their own separate grid, while the rest of the United States shares two big ones, and Texas is on their own for whatever reason. So they make their own regulations because of their own grid, and that also means they can choose how much they require which means they can also don't have to follow federal regulations, which say how cold-proof your windmills have to be and how cold-proof your pipelines have to be. So if they actually followed federal regulations they choose not to follow, they would have actually avoided this entire thing in the first place. But conservative politicians couldn't take their own problem for an answer, so what they do, they blame it on, AOC and her windmills. But to be fair, the windmills did freeze over, but it also had to do with the fact that they didn't add these regulations on windmills that they should have in the first place, so they shouldn't have frozen over. But since conservatives don't like looking at facts too often, they, of course, ignored the issue and realized and just blamed it on AOC. Like, honestly, blaming AOC for this Texas power outage is the equivalent of blaming Samuel Adams for all the drunk people in your neighborhood. Yes, if this man never existed and never had the name, maybe it would have been harder for Samuel Adams to actually market their beer. But at the same time, like, if this man existed, like, just because he existed, you can't blame him for all the drunk people in the world. Although, it may have not helped that his name was Samuel Adams. Like, at the same time, like, he is nowhere near the root cause. By the way, almost a month ago, I predicted the Super Bowl. Yeah, here's the clip. So Tom Brady will win the Super Bowl 28-24. Sorry, Chiefs fans. Of course, this method will never... Okay, I might have not gotten the score correctly, but at least I predicted the winner. Like, you gotta give me credit for something. But I honestly kind of feel bad for Patrick Mahomes, the losing quarterback. He played really well. In fact, he hit players in the face mask twice. You know how hard it is to hit someone in the face mask? Like, seriously, it's not only difficult, but all they have to do is close their eyes and bite the ball and they can catch it. Like, how hard is it not to? And his defensive line just practically wasn't there. I honestly hope Tom Brady paid off Patrick Mahomes' defensive line, because, like, if they didn't play at all, they might have honestly done a better job than them just kind of standing there and not really doing anything at all. Patrick Mahomes was pretty much running for his life the entire game. Here is some clips of Patrick Mahomes running for his life.
Again, running for his life. Mahomes. Got it away. Incomplete. White knocks it down. It was intended for Derek.
Yes, the only good thing for Patrick Mahomes about that Super Bowl appearance and his defensive line is the fact that if Patrick Mahomes has one of those, like, those thingies that, like, count your steps, those, like, on their wrist, yeah, well, he surpassed his goal for the day. Similar news, different sport, LeBron James has broken the career world record for most career turnovers in basketball for an individual. While I personally have broken an equally as impressive record of most apple turnovers eaten during one quarantine, which, by the way, I am working very hard towards that record, and I am very, very close. Equally as impressive, by the way. You know how hard it is to get to eat these apple turnovers? You gotta eat one, you gotta eat another. It's, like, very, very difficult. Like, there's one apple turnover in Congress that we've been trying to get rid of him for, like, years, and he's not leaving. COVID-19 cases are starting to decline, which is very good news, because I think that nearly everyone is sick and tired of sitting at home. Or they didn't sit at home, and in that case, they're sick and tired of COVID, because they have COVID for not sitting at home. They didn't follow regulations, and then they went outside without masks, and now they're sick and tired at home anyway, because they have COVID. So everybody's either sick and tired at home because they're at home, or because they have COVID, and now they're also sick and tired from COVID. The vaccine rollout, which I have been honestly a little bit of a critic of Joe Biden's vaccine rollout, is actually rolling out. It's rolling out really well. People around me are getting the vaccine. Teachers at my school are getting the vaccine, which is really great news. But I do have one question. Like, Mark Zuckerberg, like, he's gonna get the vaccine, and, like, he's technically not a human. So what do they do for, like, people that kind of look like humans? But we all know that Mark Zuckerberg isn't really human. So, like, what do they do for people like Mark Zuckerberg who may seem human but aren't actually human? Like that could really mess up some of his circuitry in his brain. Like, I know, like, you put the vaccine in, like, the wires and everything, like, that won't be a good look for Mark Zuckerberg. But on a separate note, if you are thinking to get the vaccine, or you have the ability to get the vaccine, make sure you get it. If it's your turn to get the vaccine, definitely get it. You're watching The Weekly Light Show on BBNBC. I am, like always, your host, Brady Betts. Good night, everybody. Actually, it's like 3 p.m., but good night.